Hey, it's Dania. I had a chance to interview someone. Her name is Tiffany Jordan. She used to work for the National MS Society, and she was over the class, the first class that I got involved with the MS Society, and there were some hiccups, but I'm grateful that I reacted the way that I did because had I let my flesh take over and be ignorant, a lot of what I do today would not exist. So enjoy. So, Tiffany and our relationship could have been really good or really bad. And fortunately, it is really good. I moved back to California, which was in 2013. I didn't get the job I thought I was going to get. And I got this postcard in the mail. I still don't know how I got the postcard. I don't remember signing up through the MS Society to get mail, but it was a class called Optimal Living that was being held at USC. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to call the number. I think it called the number or send you an email. I can't remember.
I don't remember either. It might have been either or, but yeah,
Okay,
I don't know for sure.
gotcha. Yeah, but it was, so long story short, I got the application, I filled it out, and I sent it back. But when I sent the application back, the class, it was full. And there was a delay in like shipping and processing. And so I I was upset, but and correct me if I'm wrong, I kept my anger inside. I was probably my disappointment came out a little bit to
Yeah, I mean, I don't, you were not upset at all
mhm.
when you called. In fact, like been curious when you talked to me about doing this, where you said if I would have responded in anger, and I've been curious, like, why would she respond in anger? So that indicates I had no idea that you were upset. I do recall some disappointment, which is understandable, I think.
Because the class is only offered once a year. And so
Yeah.
I think I
And it,
expressed
it
like, so
had
I
a
have to.
max, I think it
Mhm.
had a max of 14 to 15 people.
Yeah, which
So it was
that
a
means,
very small class. Yeah.
and yeah, so it was more so, me like, so I have to wait until next year to take this class because you didn't, do my application or whatever. And I was like, okay. And a couple weeks later, well, no, almost, the class started at the end, like maybe like middle of January or
Yeah.
end.
It typically started like the middle to end of January, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Okay. I get it's and the class is on Fridays,
Mhm.
and I get a call that Thursday before, like the class starts the next day, and it's like, someone just dropped out of the class. Would you be interested? Or, and I'm like, yeah. But my question to you is, had I snapped or responded to you in another way, would you still have called me, or would you look and skip and say, not her, with her attitude?
Yeah. I mean, it is hard to say, like,
Mm-hmm.
looking back exactly what my reaction would have been. Um, I would say a lot of it would depend on how extreme I thought it would have was. So like
Mm-hmm.
if I thought it was, your response was leaning more towards like abusive, like, very angry,
Mm-hmm.
telling me off, that kind of thing, which did happen at times, but
Not by me though. I didn't.
no, not by
By
you, not by
somebody.
you. But I've had plenty of experiences where that's what the response was. Um, like I probably would have been like, oh yes, I'll make sure to put you on the wait list and either put you at the very bottom,
Yeah.
or just like not really called you back. Mainly because these kinds of classes, as we mentioned before, they're very small.
Right.
So they're 14 to 15 people, and I the optimal living class, how long it lasted varied from year to year, but it was anywhere from 8 to 11 weeks long. I don't remember what the year you did it, how long it was, but it's a long period of time. So once a week, every single Friday for a couple of months, like 2.5 months or so. It's a long period of time, and the class gets really close. And so the dynamics of the people makes a big impact.
Yeah, we have fun folks in there too.
You guys did. It was an amazing class. But it's one of those where if there was somebody who I felt would be extremely disruptive, or where everything would constantly be pulled to the attention of that person and they didn't have the capacity or space to acknowledge like the needs of others. Right. I'm not saying I would have said, no, you can't be in this class, but there would have been a lot more discussion about it and like figuring out like, would this be a fit? Whereas for you, like I don't recall you snapping or anything like that at me, but it 100%. Yeah, like I think like the disappointment is important because it shows desire as well. And so like I do recall like a sense of just like disappointment and sadness that like you didn't make it. And for me, it like when in those kinds of situations, it just made me all the more want to get somebody in the class in any way that I could.
But and I think for me, it was like another thing that I was trying to do that got canceled, and now I have to wait, although waiting wouldn't have been a bad thing, but it was still that disappointment, like, all right, because not just from what happened earlier in the year, in 2013, it's like I can't catch a break. I'm just trying to do this, and wound up doing the class. And probably my biggest lesson and something that helped me the most, and this is when I was still driving and able to go out on my own. But an issue I was having, optimal living, let me just say, you're paired with an physical therapist and an occupational therapist. And I honestly didn't know the purpose of an occupational therapist until this class. And so a question that was asked is like, what are issues that you have? And I'm like, man, when I get in the shower, I'm fatigued and I can get in, but getting out is difficult, because my legs are tired and sometimes I just have to sit or, whatever. And something that she said was to switch my soap from bar to liquid. And that was just like, oh my gosh, like that makes so much sense, because I was using the bar soap and I think a lot. And so I just, get into thinking and lathering. And by that time now more energy has been taken away. And so just making that simple change, it just made a world of difference. And so you just never know, I never went to school for OT. I never went to school for PT. So they know, these are things that you can do. And I'm like, oh, this is great. And, I'm glad that I had that class. I'm grateful, to USC, because I got to meet some people, and I still talk to Ashley. And she with her cute kids, and just like, oh, but I'm grateful, and even from taking that class, that's what started my process of volunteering with the MS Society. And even because of the class, I got asked by USC to be a part of their magazine. Like, who would have thought?
I remember that.
Yeah, I'm like, who would have thought that I would be in USC's magazine? And then it was just a ripple effect of different things that I've done. But I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful that we're still able to be in touch and go to lunch sometimes and, talk and catch up. And I appreciate you. I really, really do. So thank you.
I appreciate you too. Like I appreciate that you reached out and shared this with me. I mean, it's one of those things. I was telling somebody earlier today that you don't realize the impact an action can have until later on. Like I mentioned earlier, like I had no idea that you were upset or that you were going through those emotions when you found out like that you're on the wait list for it. It makes sense that you're feeling all of that, but I wasn't aware of it. But even those actions of just, you know, not knowing what somebody's dealing with and how your response of kindness or however you respond to them can impact them further. And, you know, I do think, I'm not perfect at this, but I do think that it's a good idea to always keep in mind, like, you never know what somebody, or assume somebody is dealing with something horrible, because 95% of the time, maybe even higher, you're going to be right. But yeah, like how, like you said, like how you respond to things makes a big difference, not only on the people that you're interacting with, but on your life as well.
Yeah. So thank you. Yeah. I'm like, my attitude could have ended everything with the MS Society, and you know, I wouldn't have gone to the office to volunteer and everything else I'm doing, even leading groups right now. Like none of that would have happened had I had an attitude with you. So I never forget that. I'm grateful, you know, that I act like I had some sense and home training, I'll say. So
you're raised well.
You said what?
You were raised well.
Right. Thank you. But anyway, I appreciate it. So I have 3 questions that I ask everyone. And so I'm going to ask 3 questions that determine my friendships with people. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, the pressure's on.
Yeah. So, all right. So are you a caller or a texter?
Texter.
A texter? Okay. And then dream age. If you can go back to any age, what would that age be?
I do think that's a hard one, because inherently I'm going to pick my current age, because if I picked other ages, I wouldn't have in my life what I want or what I have now. And I don't want to lose that. Gotcha. But physically, I would definitely go back in age.
Yeah.
So if I could have everything, like the majority of the things I have in my life now, I would probably go back to like anywhere between like 28 to 33. Okay. Very cool. And then peanut butter and jelly sandwich. If you were making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, what kind of peanut butter, what kind of jelly? If you want to say a bread, you can, but peanut butter and jelly. Yeah, I love peanut butter and jelly. I'm not a picky person on it. I like smooth. I like chunky. I like every brand of peanut butter as well. So I'm fine with any of those. Same with jelly. The only jelly I would never have is grape jelly. I do not like grape jelly. Yeah. But I like every other jelly.
Okay, but so with the peanut butter, so you'll do crunchy or smooth, but you don't have a preference of?
No.
Okay. I'll let you slide. I usually don't let people slide, but I'll let you slide.
I know. I don't have a preference on brand. That's what's hard with it. Like I will say, like I said, I'll take any peanut butter, any jelly except for grape, but I also don't like too much on it.
Okay.
Like I don't like a thick slab of peanut butter and a thick slab of jelly. Like it needs to have like thin to medium amount.
Okay. All right. That works. That made up for whether it's crunchy or smooth. Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.